All right, we should be okay now. How have you been?
That was so weird. Huh? Oh, I've been good. I've been good.
2021, how are we feeling? I'm personally very excited for the new season. I think this could be a great season. Midfield looks so packed, and yeah, I think it could be super exciting.
Um, well, if testing's anything to go by, which normally is, and we should have some exciting racing this season. You know, um, I feel like a lot of teams in the midfield have taken a really good step forward. Some more than others, and some of the top teams might have taken a step back. I don't know. We'll just have to see very soon, I guess.
Yeah, but obviously Melbourne's cancelled, and we're going into Bahrain next weekend. How are you
Mhm.
feeling about sort of Melbourne getting the axe? I'm actually personally quite excited to see what it's like to have Bahrain as the first race.
We've had Bahrain as the first race a couple times in the past. I think 2010 was the year that was the first race. 2010 was a great season. So if if starting at Bahrain equals great season, then I'm all for it. I think Bahrain's like one of the good tracks of of the calendar. So especially the night, how it's like in the night. I feel like the light bouncing off the cars is going to look amazing as the first race. So I'm really forward to it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Hopefully, it's going to be a good race. I feel like if we go team by team, I guess. Starting with
Hmm.
Williams. Personally, from what I've seen through testing and through sort of, this is the first year that they're going to be under the investment firm, and
Mm.
I feel like the way that the team has sort of rebranded itself, but sort of reorganized itself. That Williams in the past kind of had the a very old-fashioned nature of being stuck in the past, of being having this just this a pure constructor team, have the budget to
I
really.
can't. I can't. Your voice keeps cutting out.
Oh, it
I
keeps
think you
cutting out.
drift too far away from the micro. I think you moved too far away from the microphone.
Okay, sorry. Wait, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I can hear you a lot better now. It's just when you're talking and you're moving, I think you
Oh,
move
okay,
like a
yeah,
little bit too right here.
yeah.
And
Yeah. So what I was saying was,
you,
can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, cool. What I was saying about Williams is just that I feel like they're kind of accepting a new sort of era of the team, and
Mm.
they're kind of rejecting this sort of old-fashioned nature of being we have to build everything in the car. Um, like
Mm-hmm.
Racing Point and Alpha Tauri really sort of they were able to act way more effectively by being able to get in parts that don't really affect the performance or the reliability of the car, and then being able to shift their resources into more important areas. So that's kind of why I
Mm-hmm.
feel like Williams fell to the back over the years. Yeah. So looking at the car, I feel like it looks more solid through testing. Um, yeah. Did you have anything to say about Williams?
Um, I feel like they're moving in the right direction now. Obviously, Williams was a smaller team in the past, smaller budget, and they still insisted on being there, developing their own parts. I never really understood that, like why make your own gearbox when you can buy one from Mercedes, etc. Especially at the beginning of the turbo hybrid era when Williams was, to be honest, quite possibly a top three team or top four team, arguably. Um, I feel like they really messed up by not capitalizing on their Mercedes partnership, and they could have been in the position Racing Point is in now, instead of where they are basically at the back of the field. But I feel like they've taken a good step forward, and now I feel like they can get in the points in some races. You know, if the track does suit their car, I feel like they'll have that possibility. Um, yeah, I don't feel like it's going to be the worst car on the grid. Um, we'll get into like who I think will be worse later on anyway, but I feel like it'll be, fighting with Alfa Romeo and Haas mostly. But I think, yeah, they can definitely get some points.
Yeah, for sure. They've they seem to be getting a lot of good talent in as well. They have Jensen Button as advisor, and they got a new CEO with these investors as well. I really think it was quite sad to see the Williams family depart. But I feel like it's kind of important for an organization to like refresh itself every so often to like get a new perspective on where they should be. I feel like the Williams family always saw themselves as a top tier team, but when you're struggling at the bottom, when you're focusing on top results, it doesn't really translate properly. So I feel like Williams as like an engineering station has really good potential, and I feel like with this investment and the current drivers of George Russell and Latifi, I feel like they could be super strong going into like the future regulations. Yeah. Anything else to say on them?
No, that's mostly it. I'm gonna I'm gonna say probably we're probably gonna see more of them on TV other than getting lapped this year. So
Yeah,
maybe that'll be
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, for sure. And I think there will be more focus on Williams after the Sakir Grand Prix last year with George Russell. We can probably
Yeah,
talk about it
fair.
another time, but I feel like he's obviously not going to be at Williams for his entire career, so he's going to have a lot of focus on him. I'm just checking my notes on anything else. Yeah, so obviously testing, they had a good testing. Yeah, one other thing I wanted to say was like how this year's been really good for Williams in terms of they didn't have any struggles in testing, like they didn't have any reliability problems, and they were on the track on the
Yeah,
day with the car built. So that's just a really good
yeah.
thing to build like a baseline of a season to sort of be able to get the data and then be able to like build up the momentum for the season when you start. Yeah. Um, I guess moving on to Haas. If you want to take it away from me,
Well,
you can go
Haas.
ahead.
Well, from what I've seen, I think Haas might be worse than Williams. That's quite difficult. I don't know how they've done it, but um, the combination of the Ferrari engine, them not really developing the car this year, not really spending much of the development tokens, and the rookie lineup, one of them, Nikita Mazepin, shouldn't even be in F1 to be honest. Um, yeah, just like a combination of those factors, just looks like a disaster waiting to happen. Has I don't know what it is, but I don't know if it's the rookie lineup. I don't really have that much of an issue with the rookie lineup. It's just the team not developing the car, Ferrari engine, just a rain like all of these like stuff added together. If it was like, oh, it's a rookie lineup, but we've developed the car, the engine's still bad. Maybe they could have got a couple points. Maybe they'll be like Alfa Romeo, but then it's like, or if it was like, oh, um, we haven't, but like they haven't developed the car. I don't know, man. It's just not looking good. I'm just not seeing any positives from them.
Yeah. Haas are like a really weird team this year. Come into a year saying we've not developed this car at all. It's literally a reskin of last year. That's just so funny to me. Um, yeah, Nikita Mazepin, like I, I feel like I don't know. He didn't show enough promise to me in F2 ever warrant an F1 seat. And the amount of time they F2, I feel I don't know. Compared to Mick Schumacher of all people, like I feel like Mick Schumacher will outqualify Nikita Mazepin 20-3 like ratio. I don't know. And it will probably be a day where it's like there's extra variables that like lead to that being outqualified. You know, like wet racing or like a tire issue or something like that. Yeah, I really have no hope for this guy. And obviously, like there's been this whole drama about like the Russian livery. Basically, like because of what Russia did in the Olympics, like F1 just isn't allowed Russian athletes. So like Mazepin has a neutral flag, and they've just, I don't know. I guess their sponsors, because of Mazepin's backing is just like funding the team right now. I guess I don't know, they were obsessed with having the Russian flag on the team car. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, like what you were saying before. I feel like by the end of the year, I think that Haas are going to be like definitively the worst team by quite a margin.
Mm,
Um, which is kind of shocking to see. Like it was only 3 years ago, really, that like Haas were leading the midfield, and it's so
yeah.
strange to see. I feel personally that the Haas model is kind of only worked for only a few years, and especially like when you saw what Ferrari's dip in performance, like Ferrari weren't a big team anymore. Them being like so reliant on Ferrari wasn't going to work for like a prolonged period of time. So I feel like that's kind of why they've given up on this like specification of car, and they're moving with the cost cap, especially that it means that they can become more of a independent team, less of a customer team.
Um, you say that, but Ferrari have moved. I can't remember who it was, but someone that worked at Ferrari did move from Ferrari to Haas. You
Yeah.
know, I feel like that relationship is, still strong. You know, they've got Mick Schumacher in the car, Ferrari Academy driver. I feel like if Mick Schumacher ever graduates, it'll be like a, similar to Toro Rosso, not really, not Toro Rosso, AlphaTauri, not really sister teams, but like a junior version. I don't know what it is with Haas and like controversy. Like they just attract controversy all the time. Like their whole rich energy saga, and then now with Nikita Mazepin and all this like Russian like athlete doping, sponsored doping program, and then keeping Nikita Mazepin on, even though like there was a video of him surfacing of doing stuff he shouldn't be doing. I don't really want to get into it, but yeah, like it's just very. I don't know, like it's like the least professional team I've ever seen has I don't know, like I don't want to bash them because like I liked Haas when they first came in. I thought it was like a new fresh wave of like F1, you know, a midfield team really coming in, taking the midfield by the scruff of the neck and really trying to perform and really progress. And then now they've just been taking steps, not really taking steps back while everyone's taking a step forward, you know? And it's just very strange to see like how far they've fallen down. It's just very hard to like wrap my head around.
I feel like the main promise of this season is just essentially to give track time to the drivers, because the last driver lineup was there for so long. I feel like essentially what
Yeah.
Haas are doing this year is just giving track time to the drivers so that for next year that they can be somewhat competitive. Hopefully with the
Mm.
cost cap will definitely help Haas, and especially like the engine freeze as well, if Ferrari can like get on par with, yeah, they could look all right like for after 2022. But I guess getting into the next team, the other Ferrari team, Alfa Romeo, sticking with the same driver lineup, of course. They seem, I don't know. I feel like Alfa Romeo is has I feel like they have quite a promising season ahead. Their driver lineup will definitely help them in terms of experience, because Giovinazzi's kind of definitely a more experienced driver now. He's not a rookie, and of course Kimi Raikkonen is just so experienced. He'll be able to bring a lot to that team. Um, yeah. Do you have any thoughts on Alfa Romeo this year?
It's not really much like thoughts. Um, I feel like Alfa Romeo last year weren't, you know, there were at times where they were almost as good as Ferrari in a couple races. I feel like Alfa Romeo's always been a decent team. I don't feel like we can expect too much from them, but I do expect like a few points finishes here and there. Kimi Raikkonen, like you said, he's very experienced. Antonio Giovinazzi, he feels like he's been a rookie for like 4 years now, but then he's just been in F1 for 4 years. Um, I don't know. I don't know. It just feels like whenever I watch Giovinazzi race or just drive the car, it just doesn't feel like there's any progression as like a driver. You know, do you know when you see
Yeah.
when you see like a driver come into F1 and like let's say they make a few mistakes, or after a while they start making mature drives or whatever. I don't know if it was Antonio Giovinazzi has always been putting midfield level drives in the car at all times, or if um he's just at this level, just very mediocre. Like I don't know which one it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Um,
just.
I think last year Alfa Romeo definitely struggled with downforce, which was their main problem. And
Mm,
the Ferrari engine did not help them at all. I feel like this year they'll. I feel like what they should be aiming for is kind of to be battling with Alpha Tauri at the minimum, and definitely to be ahead of Haas and Williams, like sort of on the back end of that midfield. Can't see them being up there with some of the. Yeah. So
um, Carl, when you can you like make sure the mics you stay in range of the mic
yeah.
because you
Sorry.
still keep drifting.
Yeah.
I know you're standing up now. Like
Yeah.
Noel Miller. I don't know if that guy's really inspired you. I guess, but.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you can get a microphone and talk like
Yeah.
this.
Handheld one. Oh yeah. Sorry for that. No, I was just saying that I think Alfa Romeo probably don't have the potential to match some of the higher end midfield teams.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. I feel
Yeah.
like I feel like with Alfa Romeo, they're like loitering in between the back end of the grid and the midfield. We'll get onto the midfield very soon, but it's like Haas and Williams are just definitely at the back, and then Mercedes and Red Bull are definitely at the front, and then there's the midfield pack, and then there's Alfa Romeo. Like are they in or they're out? Um, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Yeah. Next team, the other Alpha, Alpha Tauri. Um, I don't know. I feel like after last year, some of the stuff that they did, this year they could definitely have sort of. I don't know. I don't feel like. I think the problem last year with AlphaTauri was that they didn't really have the consistency to mount like a proper challenge. Because even with like a win, 25 points, like 25 points in the midfield is a massive amount of points, and they still weren't able to get up there properly. This year, I feel like they made some really key improvements on the front end of the car from what I saw. All the teams seem to get narrow noses except some teams. But yeah, AlphaTauri, they look really impressive, I'd say. And I have one thing with AlphaTauri is from what I've seen in testing, I feel like Yuki Tsunoda could have like some immense pace. And Pierre Gasly as well. You can just rely on that guy to just bang in points so often. Yeah.
Bro, I expect big things from this team this year. I don't know what it is. I just look at like the way they set the team up, the driver lineup, just everything about this team just shouts something really like special's happening. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh, AlphaTauri is gonna win the world championship or anything like that. But I genuinely think more than one weekend, more than a couple weekends, they're gonna be best of the rest. And they might get a few I'm literally not. I think they might get a few podiums if what we see from testing is like really, true. Because Pierre Gasly now, after last season, is well proven. Like I'm fully on the Pierre Gasly hype train. I was, like maybe I'm a little bit late, but I was on that Pierre Gasly hype train. After that, not after the win, but like a few races before the win, like he was coming like fifth and like fourth, and I was just like, this guy's just outperforming Kvyat, and Kvyat's like coming like 11th and 10th, and he's coming like fourth and fifth, and I was just like, the difference between the like driver disparity is the one thing that let them down last year. And I think if Yuki Tsunoda can put in just a shift, like just 2 places back, maybe like 2 places back, and just consistently like maybe 1 place or 2 places behind Pierre Gasly, I think they can get points at most races, and I think like they can do something really good this season.
Yeah, I think maybe the main problem with AlphaTauri that I could see going into this year is sort of that car is getting quite like long in the tooth. Like some of the elements of that car are based around like 2019, 2018 spec car. I think maybe Red Bull haven't been as like sort of active as Racing Point as like shifting components into the junior team. But yeah, I don't know. I feel that I just have a lot of hope for Yuki Tsunoda. We've seen before that when junior drivers come into the like AlphaTauri / Toro Rosso team, that they always like perform well. Like Alex Albon, Pierre Gasly, like they always seem to be able to put in shifts. And the fact that like Pierre Gasly did so well last year, kind of suggests that like Red Bull are kind of out of the woods with that sort of. They had that whole situation like for multiple years with Toro Rosso with like Brendan Hartley, Kvyat, like they're kind of getting in older drivers to fill in that seat, but I think now they have a definite like a good like a good baseline for a good year, and also like the kind of I feel like there's like last year there was too much like flux around the drivers, like with Alex Albon and Pierre Gasly, like they were kind of like crossing each other's path, like they were getting away with each other. I don't think that's going to be the case this year. But yeah, they had a good testing, of course, and put in some good laps. Yuki Tsunoda got the fastest lap, even with the DRS cheat. The DRS cheating, which is just bizarre to see.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know why they would do that, to be honest.
Look, all I want to say is I don't care about fastest lap in testing. Like, I just care about the only thing I care about in testing, is how many laps can you put in without, reliability is the key thing, and how that car looks. Other than like when people say, "Oh, he got the fastest lap in testing," most of them are glory runs. A lot of the top teams are sandbagging. Like it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all.
Yeah. So I guess like moving forward now, this team is going to be, I don't know, Ferrari. But obviously last year was just a horrific year. I was kind of expecting like some big development to come from Ferrari because I don't know. I think that car looks awful. Awful. Like when you look at well, when you compare this car to like the 2019 car, if you just like do a side by side, like it doesn't look that much different. And that's 2019. Like that's a long time in Formula One. I don't know. From what I was watching, like they had like horrific reliability, and I really think that Carlos Sainz isn't fitting into that team right now. Like I feel that the McLaren was probably a much more stable car last year than the Ferrari is this year. They I don't know how well they have actually developed the engine as well, because I was heard it on F1 TV about how if they really wanted to like to develop the car properly, they would have to spend tokens on like the transmission and like the rear of the car, and they just have said that they didn't do that. So a lot of their focus has been around the like sort of the suspension, rear suspension. Um, yeah, I'm not confident Ferrari at all this year. I think it could be another midfield year for them for sure.
Um, I see that. I saw that they restructured, their hierarchy to like I don't know, I can't remember the particular reason why. I think it was something along the lines of like trying to like send their collective like the vision of like where they want to go and like make that easier to like transmit across the whole team. Um, and Matteo Bonotto is like in control of a lot of things now, and I don't know. I don't think I'm not really expecting like too much from them. Honestly, I believe they came sixth, or was it fifth in the
Um,
constructors?
Fifth, I believe. I don't think AlphaTauri got
Fifth.
beat Ferrari yet. Fifth.
Okay, okay, fifth. Um, I think I think they might fall. They might come sixth this year. If AlphaTauri is really putting in the shift, but um, I don't know. I just like Ferrari at the moment in the next few years. I don't think they're going to be like a top team. We might have McLaren. How McLaren weren't a top team and still aren't a top team and haven't really recovered from that whole Honda experiment. No, it wasn't even Honda. It was like Mercedes at the beginning, and then the car they were just really bad. I guess I feel like we're gonna have something. We might have something similar like that. We might not have them at the bottom of the grid, but with how like you can't develop the engine and the engine is really bad, worst engine on the grid, and then yeah, I don't know, just a lot of things about Ferrari. Just like I haven't got too much faith in them. So
Yeah. I mean, the main thing about Ferrari is I'm interested to see how the driver lineup works. I feel
yeah,
like Ferrari as a team, I can't see Carlos Sainz being comfortable there, if I'm honest. I feel like Carlos Sainz is used to a very sort of, I mean, being at Red Bull, like, no, or Toro Rosso, Renault, McLaren, there's not as much sort of pressure inwards based on around sort of the history of the team. And I mean, we saw what Ferrari did to Sebastian Vettel. I mean, I could definitely see that there being problems for Carlos Sainz at Ferrari, given the apparent instability of that car and the engine problems. Yeah, we'll have to see. Yeah. But yeah, of
yeah,
course,
we'll have a Ferrari run.
just remember the prize money. The prize money. That's what we gotta remember with Ferrari.
Prize money.
Yeah. Yeah. So now the next team, I'm very excited for this team, Aston Martin. I think.
Do you want to go first or should I?
You go first, yeah, yeah.
Um, Look, I like this team. I just like everything about this team so far. I might have to, say I'm an Aston Martin fan from now on because look, I like Seb. He had a tough year last year, but then he's come here. They've really developed the car and stuff, and obviously the car. I feel like the cars are different. It's a different car. It's not like last year's car painted green, is it? So, um, because obviously they had like, I guess they have a lot of parts coming in from Mercedes, so they can really focus on like other stuff and if they have like a really good vision for where they want the car and like where they want to excel in, they can really develop that and spend tokens on that part. And I don't know, the car looks good. Obviously, there was like a few reliability issues in testing, which is kind of worrying. But the from what Lance Stroll showed, the car looks good. The driver lineup is decent. You know, four-time world champion, and Lance isn't that like I've been like a lot of people have been bashing Lance Stroll. I have been bashing Lance Stroll, but last season he was pretty good. He just wasn't as good as Perez. Even though I think he beat him in the championship, but that's because like Perez had like COVID and stuff, and missed like a lot more races than he did. But Lance Stroll is turning into a nice solid driver. Um, if Sebastian Vettel, you know, if Sebastian Vettel and this team can really work together really well, I think maybe one a season down the line or 2 seasons down the line, they could contend for a championship. But I don't know. That's just hopeful thinking though, because you can't really
Yeah.
get quick
Yeah.
champion.
Um, yeah, I think Aston Martin are super, super promising. I've seen some people bashing them online about how like they're gonna have a terrible season or something, but I don't know. From what I've seen in pre-season testing, like they've had a perfect sort of like pretty good reliability. Like the car hasn't looked unstable at all. I think what's promising about Aston Martin is that Sebastian Vettel looks rejuvenated. Like he looks like a happier
Yeah,
person. I think it's important when a driver comes into a new project that they're really sort of excited for the project. And I mean, um, like Ferrari was just sort of a completely, I don't know, he just got ousted from that team, I guess. And to see
always
him,
cursed.
yeah, um, sorry, just lost my train of thought. Yeah, with the car especially, they've spent their tokens on stuff that ladies can't really help them with. So like around the monocoque and the chassis, um, is like completely different from last year, which is like something that you really want to see. I think like the car is lighter as well, more ballast control. And then they've gotten like championship winning components in for like the suspension, and other parts of like transmission, engine, of course. So yeah, I think Aston Martin is going to be. I think Aston Martin's going to be what we thought Racing Point would be last year, if that makes sense. Like really leading that title fight. I think the main problem for Aston Martin this year is like the actual like track management. We saw a lot of last year with like misplaced strategy and just sort of qualifying mishaps, etc. But
Yeah,
hopefully, with the sort of experience of Sebastian Vettel and some of the management that they have, they can improve that. And what you're saying about Lance Stroll, yeah, I kind of agree. I feel like I bashed Lance Stroll in the past. I feel like with Lance Stroll, it's all about expectation. I don't see Lance Stroll in the same light as I see like Leclerc, Russell, and Norris. I feel like he should position himself more as a really midfield driver, which is like there's no problem with that. I feel like what let Lance Stroll down last year was maybe some consistency problems in the races, like crashing out. I think there was a run of races, like 7 races, where he didn't score any points. But you know,
yeah.
he is definitely a very good race driver. You know, he always has really good starts. So I feel like the balance between having Vettel as like a experienced champion who can just try and get points every weekend, and having Lance Stroll as well to back him up could be really beneficial.
I'm gonna say Last Stroll has what do you call it? He's crash out. You know, he's gone off track at like very important times. Um, for example, Italy at the safety car, not the safety car, just the red flag restart. He just went off at I think it was the second cane. He just went off, and I think that cost him that race. Um, he cost himself at Sakia, I believe. He could have gone for that. He actually could have won that race. Actually, I don't know if he could have kept like Perez behind him, but I think he could have genuinely won that race. And he just I don't want to say bottled because like bottled is like a very strong term, you know. But yeah, I think he does. He has like the tendency to, you know, mess up and kind of like bottle like a few like important moments in the race. But if he can get that down and really like sort out his consistency, then you know I don't really see any reason not for him not to have like a couple podiums this year.
Oh yeah. Also, I would add Monza to that as well. I feel like he could have won that race as well. Obviously, like a lot of people could have won that race.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, next team I'd like to move on to is Alpine. New team. I mean, that team has basically been had 20 names in the last 5 years. So yeah. Um,
Lotus,
driver.
Renault Lotus, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Benetton. Yeah. I feel like
Benetton,
the driver lineup, of course, is the big one. Alonso is coming back. I I get similar energy to Alonso now to Schumacher 2010, if that makes sense.
Don't say that. Don't say that. It's too early. Oh my god. Oh my god, I forgot about that. Don't say that. You jinxed it. You jinxed it. You jinxed it. Oh god. I don't know, man. Something about F1 like keeps these older drivers just in the game for too long. You know, Raikkonen, Schumacher, now Alonso. Just a lot of these drivers. I don't know if it's adrenaline rush and then I'm retiring and never having anything like that ever again in your life. And then carry on with what you're saying. Sorry for interrupting.
Oh no, no, it's fine. So I mean, last year Renault wasn't a perfect year. I feel like they're kind of coming from 2019. They hit a plateau in the team. They obviously got beat by McLaren in 2019, and I don't know. I feel like what we're trying to say about Renault. I don't think that this is necessarily going to be their year. Personally, they're going to have issues being the only supplier of their car because they're just going to have limited data. Like it's going to be a problem for them for sure. From what I've seen on track, they have been pretty stable, but I don't know how quick they are. I feel like they're going to kind of be in that sort of maybe fifth, sixth sort of places with Ferrari, maybe around there, and AlphaTauri. That's where I'd put them. They've gotten new management in. They got Davide Bruvio from MotoGP. I don't know him obviously from MotoGP. Hopefully he can bring something new to Alpine. And hopefully I feel like they really needed to focus on front end downforce, which is what they were lacking from last year. Yeah. Do you have anything to say about them?
Look, I remember a while ago, Alonso was telling Renault, now Alpine, to just focus on the new regulations.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not really expecting anything amazing from these guys. I can't really remember, like, off the top of my head, I can't really remember what they developed from the car, from last year's car, but last year's car was it was like high straight line speed, reliant tracks. They were like third best team on the grid at times.
Yeah.
When it comes to Alpine, I think yeah, you're right. I think they'll be loitering around fifth or sixth, battling AlphaTauri and Ferrari. You know, in the literally in the middle of the midfield. So maybe they're but yeah, I'm not expecting like anything crazy. Maybe a podium here or there. That's what I love about the midfield now. Is like anyone can get onto the podium at any time. If like one of the big two teams, go sleeping for a race. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's all I
I
have to say
definitely
about
agree.
Alpine.
Um, Obviously Daniel Kvyat as reserve driver, which you mentioned before, quite interesting to see. Hopefully that, I mean, I feel like that could benefit them to have like such an experienced driver.
Yeah, can't hear you.
Reserve drivers get involved with the young driver test. I don't think Daniel Kvyat's eligible for that. Yeah, one thing I wanted to mention
Uh,
with Alpine was their airbox. It was so huge. If you look at the front of the car, it literally looks like a 1970s car. It's massive. I don't know if you've seen it. Um, but yeah, yeah, we'll move on to oh, I think I missed out on something. Yeah, McLaren. Now, McLaren's a very interesting one because they're the only
McLaren.
team to switch engines within this regulation period. Um, I think they're going to hit. I think McLaren this year are going to hit a limit of what they can do. If that makes sense, like being from 2017, which was the obvious low point, they've just like shot up. I think now they're going to hit that limit because um, they've had to fit that Mercedes engine into the car, and that's where they've sort of development into. And from what I'm hearing from analysts is that they haven't upgraded a lot of like key parts around the front of the car, as well as the suspension. Um, yeah, I comparing them to Aston Martin, which I think is like their main rival this year. I can't see them. I just can't see them getting third again this year, even with Daniel Ricciardo as well.
Um, yeah, one thing I will say about McLaren, I do like their driver lineup. I don't know if I like it more than last year because last year they had this young driver dynamic. Now it's like young driver, experienced driver dynamic. Um, but I think Carlos Sainz and Daniel Ricciardo is like a like replacement. I don't think McLaren lose anything by getting Daniel Ricciardo. I think they might gain, they gain a driver that's a race winner and is vastly more experienced than Carlos Sainz. Um, I don't think it's a question of talent or anything like that. Um, I will say you have a point with the way they had to like shoehorn that Mercedes engine, like just trying to fit it into that car, and trying to like make sure it's working, I guess, with the Mercedes engine. Obviously, it does take away development points from other parts of the car where other teams developed their car. So I don't know if um, I don't think yeah, you're definitely right. I don't think McLaren are finishing third this year, but I do think they might be able to fight for fourth. But I think that they're probably going to end up fifth if AlphaTauri are really good this year.
Wow.
But yeah, that's what I have to say about McLaren.
Yeah, I feel like McLaren. I think what's good for McLaren is that there's much less negativity in the team, which, I mean, for about 2015 to about maybe 2018, that team was just they were just so cursed. I feel like, but now they're definitely the right track. I'd say going into 2022 for sure. Now we go on to the big ones. Red Bull. Sergio Perez new team, which I'm very excited to see. That's probably one of the most exciting drivers I'd say for this year is to be able to see veteran Sergio Perez in a top team is, I think it's going to be crazy to see. I don't know. We've been hearing a lot about like Red Bull. This really makes sense, but they came out on top at testing, which I don't really doesn't really mean much to me. Um, Personally, I think they're a bit overhyped this year. Um, I've been let down by Red Bull so many years. Basically, every year since 20, they've been underperforming their potential, I would say. Um, the only good thing I'd say about Red Bull this year in testing is that the car looks a lot more stable on the rear end. I remember in Catalonia last year that the car was just undrivable in some of the corners. I remember going into like what corner? Turn 5 at Catalonia, they would just spin all the time. But now it seems that in that area, I feel also that having a veteran driver in a car based on last year's car beneficial because I feel that Sergio Perez will be able to drive around some of the flaws of the car, and I feel that he'll actually be a lot closer to Verstappen than people are expecting. Do you have anything else to say about Red Bull?
Um, I will say that I'm glad that Sergio Perez is in the car. A big team opportunity this late in their career, um, which that's something I'm really happy about. Um, Obviously, if I was Alex Albon, I'd feel a bit hard done by it because I don't think he didn't perform particularly well enough to warrant him staying in that car. I feel like Red Bull definitely kept him if he had better performances. But yeah, I feel like the driving lineup is really, really strong this year. From testing and everything, it looks reliable. It looks like it handles well. But I'm not going to be like, oh, they're top of the charts, so they're definitely going to win this year. But I don't know. I feel like the progress, and I think maybe this year they can challenge.
Yeah. We were talking about Red Bull there. Sorry.
Oh, what did I say about Red Bull? Oh, driver lineup is really good. Close good. Yeah, I said maybe Red Bull can challenge, but I'm very skeptical because I've said maybe this team can challenge for the past 7 years, and no one's really been able to challenge apart from Ferrari for 2 years. So
I feel like what I'm getting vibes from Red Bull this year of McLaren 2012. I feel like they're going to be, for some parts of the season, they might actually be the fastest car, but I feel like they won't have the ability to put together a proper title fight.
ooh. Okay, I can see that. I was gonna say more Ferrari 2017, but
Yeah, that's similar. Yeah.
to be fair, Ferrari 2017 were like on it the first half of the season and just turned off second half. So.
Yeah, yeah. Um, what's interesting about Red Bull now is that with the engine regulations coming in for next year, they're going to be their own supplier of sorts. Honda are definitely putting in a lot of resources in this year before they leave, which is really good to see. Um, I feel like Honda and Mercedes are about the same. I really feel that I feel like people still have this idea of Mercedes 2014 engine in their head, like that Mercedes are just like this team. I feel like the margins are very much smaller these days as like the regulations got older.
Yeah, I feel like engine margins, I feel like there's definitely a gap between engines, but I don't feel like it's as significant as people make it out to be. Um, I feel like I don't know like what the timing difference between engines would be like if you put the same engine in all these different cars, um, like what who would be the fastest, but I can definitely see like Mercedes being like slightly faster than Honda and Renault, um, and you know pretty far like a lot quicker than Ferrari. And I feel like Mercedes still is number one engine and definitely the team to beat anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I guess moving on to Mercedes, I'd say their worst preseason testing since maybe 2011, going on a decade. It wasn't looking good. I definitely think that Mercedes are sandbagging though, for sure. Like I feel like it's pretty transparent that they haven't shown everything. I feel like it's maybe a symptom of Mercedes being so good that they don't even really need pre-season testing that much apart from just making sure certain functions of the car are working properly.
I think the test was to just see if the car drives. I think they're pretty confident regardless. They're just like, yo, if we can put something out that moves, we're gonna win this year. But
Yeah,
I don't know. Something about it didn't give me like sandbagging vibes. I thought like they looked like they were genuinely struggling in certain aspects. Like Lewis Hamilton's just spinning. Valtteri Bottas had like a technical issue that put him. You know, the test they had was like probably one of the least productive tests they've ever had. But I don't think that affects their championship aspirations in any way, and I still feel like they're definitely the team to beat. I don't want to hear like, oh, Red Bull's the best team this year narrative until they win the first race.
yeah,
So that's
yeah,
where
for
I'm
sure.
at with Mercedes.
Um, I think never underestimate Lewis Hamilton for sure. I feel like he could definitely drive around if there is issues. And you should also never underestimate Mercedes as just an engineering force because if there's problems with that car, I'm telling you that they'll be able to find a way to fix it. 2017, 2018, they weren't the best car in the start of the year, and then by the end of
Yeah.
the year, they were just dominating. They were just pure domination. Um, I, I think the only way that Mercedes will be beat is next year with a cost cap. By them having
Mm.
to scale down and
Um.
by other teams
Yeah,
scaling up.
Mercedes. The thing is with Mercedes that people seem to forget. Last year at the beginning, even though they won um, the first race, saying they technically shouldn't have won the first race. Um, the vibration issues and all of that. And then by the next week, it was fixed already, and then they just dominated it and got 1-2. So every single time you see like a chink in the armor, they just go to the blacksmiths and just patch it up, and then it's all good. And I don't know, it's something that just a Mercedes just give me like this aura of invincibility. Even though last year was probably the worst season that they had in the sense of uh, not like dominating as they normally would. Other than the 2 years where Ferrari really challenged across the
In
board with their
20,
seven constructors.
so like 2020 wasn't. I feel like 2020 was one of the most dominant years ever. Personally, I don't know.
No. It was dominant, right? Like they won a bunch, but then this midfield group just crept up on them, and then they have like a failure or like all these range of factors. And I think that I feel like that all like the chaos of like COVID and all of that stuff, really how good Mercedes were last year. You know, people will probably look at the Mercedes last year and be like, yo, that team was really, they looked beatable at times. And in reality, in reality, I feel like they could have won, you know, Max Verstappen beat them straight up in. I feel like they could have won every race, apart from that Silverstone one, you know?
Yeah, it was definitely a case of certain races they didn't win. It was definitely outside factors that they didn't have control of. Yeah, I mean on pace they could have won every
Yeah.
race for sure. Monza, Sakir, um, yeah, Silverstone, they probably wouldn't have won it, and Abu Dhabi. I think Abu Dhabi, they could have won it if they really wanted to. I think they were turning
Oh
like they
yeah.
were slowing down a bit, and Lewis Hamilton was recovering from COVID.
COVID, yeah.
Yeah,
I think yeah.
yeah. So
Mm.
I guess
That's all the teams, I guess.
that's. I guess now is time for the real fun bit. Um, Tier list liveries. What are we saying?
Liveries. This is what way.
Yeah,
Like
best bet. All right, so just starting from the
like
left, I
the screen
guess.
in the middle of us, and then us in like the two.
Yeah. Um. Guess starting from the left, Alfa Romeo. Personally, I put them in average.
Wait, let me get. Wait, give me 1 second, because I can't. I don't know what I'm looking at.
I'll give you a link. Sorry. Sorry, my computer's super slow.
Actually, how about this? How about this? How
Hey,
about
the
this? How about
link.
this? How about this? We both do tier list, right? Just quickly do our tier list, and then we come together and like see the differences.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How-
Did you get the link through Discord?
I think that's really gonna be a really good idea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, it makes you realize how few teams there actually are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Up for this?
Yeah. Okay. So
Wait, so we're just gonna make them now, quickly.
make it like literally 2 minutes. Actually, I need like better angles of some of these teams, you know? Really make my verdict.
Made mine. Is on stream.
It's on stream.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll send like a print screen into the Discord if you're alright with that. Yeah, send my one to the console.
Yeah, got it. Okay. Very. Guess if we start on different teams and we can debate.
All right. So what team do you want to start off at?
Alfa Romeo, I put them in
Wait, can
average.
you send me your team?
Um, oh, we could just like debate it, and then we can like I'll
Yeah,
adjust
I put them in
mine.
average as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think it's like a decent livery, you know.
Uh,
Um,
I put the
yeah. Next team. All right, one team I want to talk about is Ferrari. I feel like
Alfa
Ferrari's
Romeo,
livery is
right? Yeah.
yeah. Ferrari's livery this year is just I feel like it's horrific.
Bro, I put the. You know what it? You know what it is? Green. Like I don't know what it
Yeah,
is. The green thing on the fin. It just really. When I just look at it, I just. There is no need for it. Like it doesn't actually make any sense, bro. Because you know the thing. If you compare it to last year's livery, I'd say it's a slight improvement. How the black and it's just black and red and the chrome halo and everything just looks all good. I think the fade at the back where it fades up is just a slight improvement of last year. Without the green, I would have put it in average. Maybe consider putting it in great, but just the green just throws me off. I just can't.
yeah. The other team I think we had the same low tier, which was Haas as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Hash it's like a Colgate. It looks like Colgate. Yeah, just I don't know.
Not a fan.
It's that
Um,
Russian flag. Like no need for it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, so McLaren, I put McLaren in meh.
You put McLaren where?
Meh, the yellow tier.
In meh.
Yeah.
I put them in. I put them in average. But
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I don't mind. So like the top end of it would be the top end of meh. Yeah, I don't know. It's just very mediocre. Just um, I don't know. That picture actually does um do it like proper justice because I was seeing like half the car. You know,
Yeah.
Google Chrome now. You know what? This McLaren, I think it's an improvement on last year actually.
Yeah. I feel like this year though, you have to like put
Of
stuff in
course, the
context of
front, like at the bottom of the front nose.
yeah. I
Hmm?
feel like you have to like put stuff in context of like against other cars though. Like what was good last year might not necessarily be the best this year. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, but like I'm
Um.
just saying I think it's a slight improvement on last year's car.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Um.
It's just the
I think
nose, the black thing at the nose.
yeah. I think the next team that we like the next team. This might be a controversial one, but Mercedes, I put them in average. I had to do it.
Why?
Because I think like last year's
I, I,
livery was so good that the changes that they made this year just kind of ruin it a bit. I don't know. The silver at the back of the car and the changes to the blue, I'm just not a fan of.
um, yes, but like, um, if I, ooh, I didn't know the silver was actually that looks. I think that looks quite good. I'm just looking
Yeah,
at it now on Google, like seeing the full car image. I was going off the little image they give you on tier list. Um,
yeah,
I don't. I don't know. I think it's worse than it's definitely worse than last year's, right? I can give you that. It's worse than last year's, but I think that's pretty solid for me. Like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe if I was doing it again, maybe I'd have been great of the top of the top tier.
Yes,
But
if we're
no, like,
meshing
I
ours
think that looks pretty good.
we're meshing ours together, then based on an average, we'll put Mercedes in
Mm-hmm.
great if we're averaging our twos together.
Yeah.
Next team, yes, we had a big difference on this one. Williams, I put them in great. I actually really like the livery. I like the kind of
What?
bizarre like patterns and stuff.
What car?
Williams,
Oh, Williams. Williams.
yeah,
I don't know. I just don't like that particular shade of blue, and then they had the yellow coming in as well. And I always say this. Cars that have like a large amount of white on it. I had this conversation earlier on it. Just looks incomplete to me. Like I'll never like a car that has like a significant amount. But even when I was ordering 2009 when I saw the Born GP car, um, I don't know, something about that car just didn't look nice to me at all. It just looked like this white. It just looks like they had a stock car and just put fluorescent green on it.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm not really a fan of like large amounts of whites on cars,
that's fair. Yeah,
unless it's Alfa Romeo, because then it's different.
um,
It's not. It's not like. It, I explain my reasoning. It's just that the front nose is just a block of white, so like there's just like space unused. So
yeah,
that's my issue.
yeah. I guess moving on to the next car, AlphaTauri. I feel like I was expecting you to put that in God tier, to be honest, because I feel like it's a major improvement on last year's one, personally.
I don't know. It's just the same. Like I don't know. I guess last year when I saw it for the first time, I was like, "Yo, this is a really good livery. This is like one of my favorite liveries ever." But when you see something a couple of times and then it progressively becomes like less cool, I guess. I guess I just kind of got used to it and just got bored of it. But it's
Yeah,
like it's all right livery. It's just to me, I can't put Alpha Tauri higher than Alfa Romeo because it's just the same. To me, it's the same livery in a weird way, just different fonts.
yeah. The
It's
thing
just
is
like
with
the
the
same blueprint.
AlphaTauri livery though that
White with
what I really like about it is that when you're looking at it from the front, it's like all like black navy, and then when it turns, it has white. I think that's a really cool feature of the livery.
Yeah. No, this is what I would say is a good use of white. This is like the type of use of white that I'd actually prefer, where it's not in insanely large spaces where it's contorted along the car, etc. I like Williams where it's just a block on the front wing. I just,
Yeah.
but yeah, I like the design of it anyway. So I don't really mind you like if you put it any higher than average or where I put it, I don't really mind. But
All
yeah,
right, I'll put
I
it in
think it's
average.
a
Yeah,
decent
yeah,
livery.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next car is the Alpine. Now, I think this livery is potentially one of the best liveries of the last 10 years.
I put it in. I put it in. What do you call it? Meh.
Yeah,
Wait. So what tier did you put it in?
I put it in God tier.
Okay. How can I see your reasoning behind that? Or hear your
Because I
reasoning?
just love the way that I just love the shade of blue that they used. When you see it on track, it looks under the sunlight. It looks amazing. I like
Yeah.
the use of red at the back.
Yeah.
And how they fitted the A in as well. Yeah, I just think it's a class livery, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. That shade of blue is really good. You know, that's probably what. That's probably one of the best shades of blue. I'd say after the old Torosso, in like 2019 or whatever. I think that shade of blue is better than this one, but I still think it's a good shade of blue. The thing that gets me about the Alpine livery, I just feel like I've seen this car before. I don't know where I've seen it, but I just feel like this like sort of colorway has been done. And if we're gonna really like put context into it, you know, I just wish that they stuck to the yellow of Renault, like because because look at how many blue cars, like how many cars have blue on the grid, and they were the only ones that were yellow, and then they just went away from it. I
Yeah,
thought the last year's Renault livery was actually pretty good, but like I don't know why they had to go away from like, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I can see your reasoning. So where
That's
where are we
just
going to
my
compromise
main
on?
issue with it.
I feel like it has to go in at least great. Like, come on, great. Like,
So
yeah.
you put it. Look, I think I was a bit harsh with the meh, you know. I feel like I was a bit harsh with the meh. But I put it in meh for political reasons, not design reasons, you know. So, if you want to put it in great, you can put it in great. I'll let that one slide, you know.
All right, cool. Um,
My judgment was beyond delivery.
okay, that's fair. Um, Red Bull. I mean, not much to be said. It's just a great livery every year. I think.
It just looks like ever since they went to the matte finish, ever since they went to the matte finish, it has just been solid 8 out of 10 liveries across the board. You know,
Yeah,
I say 8 out of 10 because like I feel like with this like with the colors they use, you can never get a 10 out of 10 livery. I feel like you can never get like the like, best tier livery, but like I feel like you'll have a solid livery that's like just below that. Just like their performance on the track.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And the final livery, no debate needed. Aston Martin got to.
No debate needed. Bro, I feel like this is up there with last year's Mercedes livery.
Yeah,
For me, that shade of green, I don't know if it's turquoise, green, whatever. That shade of green, has, I've never seen that employed in an F1 car, ever in my life. With the hints of pink, with the highlights of yellow, oh god, this car is just beautiful.
it's just
It's a beautiful car.
I've never seen a better. I think it's one of my favorite looking cars ever. I love green as a color.
Yeah,
I feel like it. This livery is like
that's the crazy thing.
what
I'm not even yeah.
I feel like this livery is like what the Caterham should have looked like back in the day. Because like that's how you do a green livery bad, I'd say.
Yeah. No, the thing is with the old cater, like in your face and like you can't avoid it. This one is like more like a bluish turquoise shade, where it's not. I feel like green as a color is just very, because obviously green scientifically, if it gets scientific, green is like the easiest color you can see. Like whenever you see green, like you'll always see it. So I feel
Yeah.
like if you make something like a really bright green, it's just like off-putting because like you can't avoid it. But I feel like they've been really clever with this, where it's not like a shade of green where like you can't not look away. But like
Yeah.
it's just a very sleek design. Even the positioning of the logos and the sponsorships and the positioning of the Aston Martin logo on the side of the front wing and the halo being like this is see Ferrari needs to take notes. Stop making your halos chrome and just integrate the red into it. You know,
Yeah.
Aston
Well,
Martin
they did
have
it in
done a job here.
2018.
They've done a job. Everything about this
Rory,
is just perfect.
Rory did that in 2018 and it looked great.
Yeah,
And then for some reason they just decided not to do it. Um, Yeah.
Yeah, but
Um.
like, I don't know. I feel like this car, when it's in the night, it's gonna look so nice in the night when it's night race.
Yeah, for sure.
When
I'm
the
sure
lights
it
are
will look
shining
great.
on it, it's gonna look so nice.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Next weekend, I'm sure it will look great. So I guess that's about it. Pretty good
Yeah, but
tier list, I'd say.
it's a thumbnail of the next video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like actually, send me your tier list and what we compromised on later on if you can.
Sure. Yeah. Um. I'll make sure to do that. Um. So I guess sort of moving on. We could go over some news maybe. F1 news. Um.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Now this story is gonna get me angry. The Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. What do we reckon for this?
Politics aside, when I looked at the like actual architecture of the track, um, how to explain this? When when you have street circuits, um, you have to be careful to make sure that overtaking is possible, right? I just look at this track and overtaking is impossible apart from the back straight. I don't see where any racing meaningful actual overtaking apart from this the into turn one, and then everything else is just going to be a train until turn one again. This is why I hate these types of like tracks, and it's just going to be fast for no reason. You know, it's like yes, it's fast, but there's not going to be any exciting racing. So like, what's the point?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's like one of the most bizarre tracks I've ever seen. I've never seen a track with just so many turns as well. Like, it's just, and like I find it so weird in F1 nowadays how we have so many sort of these. I think they're called straightaways or something like that. Like they're corners and tracks. No, they're corners and straights at the same time. I know Russia has them, of course. Yeah, it's just
Yes.
I just don't get it. um, I don't know. I think just looking at this
Bro,
track
I'm
layout.
telling you now.
Oh, what were you going to say? Sorry.
I'm literally looking at this track layout. Sector 2 is going to be a mission. I'm telling you, look. So you know when you're playing the F1 game and you can change camera angles, right? And then you can change to the front wing angle, so like you're level with the road, and like you can just see only what's in front of you, and you're like this, right? Bro, it's gonna be like this is what it's gonna be like if you use that camera angle in the game. It's gonna be like this. It's just so like twisty turny. It's like so many turns for no reason.
Yeah.
And I get it's a street circuit, but like a lot of these street circuits are artificially manufactured, right? I just feel like just why?
Yeah.
Like why?
I know. I saw the video that F1 put out, and like the barriers are like right here on the track. I don't even know how it's legal to do that under like the FIA regulations. Yeah, I can't. There's no like corner that like stands out to me apart from turn one, as you were saying. That strikes me as like an overtaking zone. I feel like from turn 13 all the way to 27, there's going to be zero. It's probably just going to be DRS passes if they have DRS passes in those areas.
Yeah, the turn. It's gonna be it's gonna be DRS passes into turn one. I feel like after turn three, you might get one or two like really brave, overtakings. But this is what like this is the part of the track that just really like when I look at it, I'm just like, what is that? turn 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. When you look at, first of all, 10, 11, 12 aren't even corners. They don't look like
Yeah, yeah,
corners. It just looks like slight. It just looks like slight twists in flipping in a straight. And I'm just looking at this. I'm just like, why? What is this? I don't even know
yeah,
why they named it so many corners. Like they could have named it 3 corners. That's literally 3 corners to me. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just looks like 3 corners to me. And they named
yeah.
it what,
I
5?
think,
I'm just,
yeah, I think
oh,
they came up with this statement saying how it's like the highest speed per corner track, but most of the corners aren't even corners, which is probably why they did that. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
like
I totally
it's
agree.
just sand, like just hacking. Like it's not like I'm just this is like, and the thing is, I'm not even an architectural F1 track expert that designs F1 tracks and have all these qualifications in making like tracks. I'm not Tilker, but like I'm just looking at what I see, people, and what I see is a track that does not offer that much overtaking. Granted, if it offers like amazing overtaking and I'm wrong and I enjoy the race, I'll be the first one to apologize and stuff. But I see zero potential in this track. Zero.
Yeah, yeah, and that's every like that's just the track as well. You have the political aspect, which I think is actually important. I kind of feel like F1 sold us down the river with We Races One, and then they decide to like go to these sort of bizarro countries. I'm not a fan of it personally. Um, but yeah, I know that's just me. Um, I guess next story that I want to talk about is that F1 have been floating the idea of bringing in sprint qualifying races. I think this is. I'm not really too sure what to think about it because sometimes I can be kind of a very like classical person. I kind of like the format we already have. I don't really think it needs much changing. I don't really think that the sprint qualifying is going to add anything to the race weekend that will be that good. Unless, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like spring qualifying, that's when they like race on Saturday and then reverse the grid on Sunday, right? Yeah,
Yes,
I
they
feel like they do
reverse. I think they reverse the grid for Saturday and then
top 10, top 10. Oh,
it's the grid for Sunday. I think I'm not entirely sure.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like they did that sprint race stuff in F2 to like give drivers more like racing experience. There's only so much time you can learn like how to race a car. I feel like it gives them more like wheel to wheel experience while also bringing more attention onto F2 as something different from F. That's the key. I feel like if you do this, people won't watch F1, F2 afterwards. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like, and plus, I look at these cars anyway. Um, like sprint rate 20 laps, something like really light, like not very, or is it like 30 laps? I don't know. Probably depends on the track, but um, I don't feel like in F1 you're gonna get much done in like 30 or 20 laps of racing. It's gonna change that much anyway.
yeah,
As that crazy as that might sound.
yeah. I agree. Um,
I'm not really for that idea.
with F2, I think they have like such a condensed calendar compared to F1. They have like 10 weekends in the season, even less than that. So I think the sprint race makes more sense. And also with F2, the sprint race makes more sense because the cars are inherently very close together because they're the same car, So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it'll be interesting to see which weekends they bring it in and how it works. The last time F1 tried to change qualifying was a disaster in 2016. 2 races in. Yeah. So I'll
How did
be.
they try to change qualifying in
They
2016?
did the like knockout qualifying where you got like the person in last place got like 2 minutes to put in a lap, and then people just ended up not putting in laps for the entire session, and yeah, it was a disaster. Yeah, but I feel like this has more potential than that. But
Oh,
I don't know. I just
is there like, oh, you have a chance? Like, no, we don't.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Um, I feel like this could potentially be a gimmick that they just bring in to cover up some of the issues in F1, but we'll see. Yeah. Um, Last story, I just wanted to highlight the um
Okay.
the passing of Murray Walker. Um, Obviously he was a very big, like he was a major figure in F1. I feel like Murray Walker is like a significant part of like the expansion of F1 in the 80s and 90s. Just his commentary was just so much passion, and there's just so unique commentary. Some of the things that he said was just, and the way that he put it, like the fire behind his commentary was just unbelievable. Obviously we're too young to fully appreciate that at the time, but just listening to stuff back, documentaries and the like, you can definitely appreciate him just as a commentator, I guess.
Yeah. Um. Look, obviously, no matter, I don't think no matter who it is, when it comes to someone passing away, it is like a sad um event, especially someone that had like an impact on a lot of people, like Murray did. He had obviously some people would associate his voice with F1. People that watched it at that time, and yeah, it's just a sad thing to see. Obviously, I never like really. I'm I never really watched that many old races. I don't really watch like old classic races, but you know, and I can't really like be someone and I can't really say, oh, yeah, I remember when he said this or he did that. But all I can say is, to be honest, rest in peace, I guess. But
Yeah,
and condolences to his family.
yeah, of course, yeah. Um, yeah, there's not really much more to say than what you said. Very sad for the loss. Um, I guess now, before we round it out, we could just talk about some predictions for the season. Very exciting thing to do.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Let's
I'll go
go.
first if you want. Um, okay, I'll start with F1. Constructors.
F1.
The constructors is a tough one because it really depends on what Valtteri Bottas does. I think constructors. I'm gonna go Red Bull actually, just for a bit of a shout. Then for the drivers, I'll say Hamilton, Verstappen, Perez.
Should I make my prediction or not?
Sure, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
For F1 constructors, I think it's going to be Mercedes win it, then Red Bull. Are we supposed to have a third place or just
Um, just do
Mercedes, Red Bull, Aston Martin?
just do constructors
I
champion
was
and
just
then
saying Mercedes
top three driver.
constructors champion. Okay, I think Mercedes are going to win the constructors. Um, the drivers, I think Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas is going to be the way
Nice.
to go. I feel like Perez is gonna have like time to, he's gonna need time to adjust to that Red Bull. I don't know if he's gonna need time. Maybe I think the Mercedes is just faster than the Red Bull. But,
Yeah. No, that
okay,
makes total sense.
F1.5.
Yeah. What do you think for
Okay,
that? Yeah, you go ahead.
should I go first? Um, Constructors for F1.5. I think Aston Martin are going to be the team to beat, and I think the top three drivers is going to be Vettel, Ricardo. You know, Vettel, Ricardo, Gasly. I threw Gasly in there just to spice it up. I have belief in him.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm actually very similar to you. I think Aston Martin are going to win the F1.5 constructors. Drivers, I think Vettel is going to win that for sure. I'm also going to say second for Ricardo. Third
For
place,
sure.
third place is the tough one. I'm gonna.
Tough one.
Let's just put Alonso in there, just for a bit of excitement.
I know what you're gonna say. I can feel it.
I got to back him. All right, so we could do a couple like bonus predictions, maybe 3.
Wait, who did you say for third?
Alonso.
Okay, yeah, I knew he was gonna say Alonso. I could feel it.
Yeah.
We got an Alonso fan over here, guys. I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah. All right, we could do a couple bonus predictions, maybe. Some zany stuff. What do you reckon for the season?
Well, okay, what? How many bonus predictions are we doing?
We'll do 3.
Predictions we're gonna do.
I'll do 3, yeah.
3. Okay, I think AlphaTauri, Aston Martin, and McLaren are all going to have podiums by the end of the season. I think Aston Martin is going to have more than 3. And what's the third one? And I'm actually gonna go with the third one. I don't want to make my predictions too midfield based, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, and the third one. I think Hamilton's gonna win the championship with at least 3 races left.
Yeah, that's fair, actually, yeah. Can't lie, some of your predictions I was thinking of using. So I gotta think of some. I think Williams will score at least 1 point. I'll put that in. I think that Aston Martin will win.
That's a reasonable prediction.
I think Aston Martin will win at least 1 race. Okay. Now my third one is I'm trying to think who will get the most penalties this year on track. Well, I'll say penalty points. Who do I think? I'll just say that Nikita Mazepin gets the most driver penalty points this year. That's all of them.
You just don't like him, do you?
Nah. I don't have any. I don't think about Nikita Mazepin. So yeah, that's for the season. What do you reckon for what do you reckon for Bahrain?
Bahrain. Ooh, I think this is going to be a Mercedes. Ooh. Actually, I think it's going to be a Mercedes one too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this season is going to be like a bit settled down compared to last season's Open. I think it's going to be Bottas. No, Hamilton, Bottas, um, and then Verstappen. Fastest lap, I'll give it to Sergio Perez. F1.5, I think, is going to be Vettel, Ricardo, and Alonso third. I'll give it to Norris.
I think. I think Bottas will win the race. He always has a strong start to the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think Verstappen will get second. I think Hamilton will
Yeah.
get third. Actually, yeah. Fastest lap, I'll say. Let me chuck in. Who do I want to say? I'm going to chuck in Lance Stroll for fastest lap for both categories. F1.5 podium. I'm going to say Alonso, Norris, Vettel. Yeah, that's about it. So what do you think of the race more generally? Do you think it's going to be a good race? I think it could actually be a really interesting one, to be honest. Having Bahrain as the first race.
I think Bahrain. I think Bahrain has decent races. I don't think Bahrain has too many boring races. In the past, I feel like Mercedes have not always struggled, but relative to their performances, have struggled. So yeah, I'm expecting good things.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm super interested to see how the first race plays out. I'm so excited to see cars on the track. Just watching testing highlights today, I was just feeling it, feeling the vibe of F1 being back. I missed it for quite a while. So yeah, do you have anything else to add?
Forward to it. Pray the season goes smoothly. No driver, and yeah, I'll be happy.
Cool. I guess that's about it for our first ever live stream. I think it went okay, some technical difficulties, but yeah, I'm excited to cover this season with you. I think it'll be really fun. So yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks for tuning in. Anyone who tuned in. Yeah. See you next weekend for the Bahrain Grand Prix.